Inside out for the West Midlands. Now, have you ever gone past a stately home in the country and wondered what it's really like? Well, former boxer Richie Woodhall has always been fascinated by an old manor house near where he grew up. But as he discovered, it's not what's on the inside that's amazing, but what's hidden just on the outside.
Well, here we are. And as a kid, I was obsessed with this place. I used to go fishing just over there, and I always used to look back and think, who could possibly live here? Apley House, just up the road from Bridge North, is one of Shropshire's most prominent stately homes. The Hamilton family had owned it since 1980 and went on to sell the stately pad, but kept the 8,500 acres of land that surrounds it. But now I've finally got the opportunity to have a good scout around. It's not actually the house I'm here to see. Instead, I've been told of a hidden gem I should turn my attention to. I'm here to meet Lady Hamilton and take a look at a hidden garden that's been locked away in the middle of the estate. So, tell me, how did you come to find this secret location?
Well, we were just out for a Sunday walk one day with my parents-in-law when we were first married, and they said, "Oh, let's check out the walled gardens." And I'd never been here before, and I was just enchanted by what we found, and amazed how untouched it was.
I'm totally intrigued. Lead the way.
Come on in and see.
Here at Apley, they've got big plans for the massive 4-acre Victorian walled garden that has remained untouched for the best part of 50 years.
Here we are. I mean, this is the entrance to the main walled sections, and it's still very overgrown.
Look at this. This is... I've never seen anything like this in all my life. I really haven't. It just seems that at one point this must have been a hive of activity, lots of people around, and now it's as if to be honest, it reminds me like a graveyard. It's completely abandoned.
It obviously had been a very beautiful place, and that you can still see all the remains of that. It's wonderful, and it's great to be part of it and to be regenerating the employment opportunities and breathing new life back into the estate now.
The family want to restore it to how it would have been at its prime. In the last century, you'd find kitchen gardens alongside most country homes. Originally, they were set up to provide food for the main house, but gardens like this were also a symbol of wealth. Well, Mike, what's your first impressions of this fascinating project?
I'm speechless. It's brilliant. I mean, the walls are in perfect condition. You look at the vinery over there, it needs a bit of attention. It looks far worse than it is. It won't take long to clear all this out of the way. Make sure when you take your coat off, throw it on the floor, start straight away, doesn't it?
Mike Thurlow feels right at home here. He's a retired head gardener and has restored walled gardens in the past. So how does Apley fare?
You look around these walls, you look at the touches, you look at the finishes. It goes to show this was a high-status garden. Right. Everywhere you look, you find there's coping stones, you've got these things that are hanging out over the edge of the wall to protect the plants from the worst of the rain. Look at the thickness on this wall. There's no justification for a wall that thick other than it must be a heated wall. And the prestige walls that you could put citrus fruit, a lemon, an orange, grapefruit in front of your guests, a nectarine, a peach, out of season. It would have been a hive of activity. They were sort of food factories. I am told there were 30 staff employed here. So you can imagine, the level of attention everything had. But you've got the glass houses, the vinery going flat out, you've got the walls producing things. And it has that effect today that when people come around and actually see these things being grown, it makes them appreciate that it's not produced on a production line. These are magnificent gardens. The head gardeners of these gardens were men who were at the top of their profession. They had a job to do and they did it to the highest perfection. It's as simple as that. I mean, this is why they are so special.
Despite all the glory a garden as vast as this one once brought, as the years passed, the kitchen garden began to fade away. So this must have been one of the potting sheds. And just imagine 50 years ago, people just shutting up shop and leaving things the way they are. Look, vases just left on the table and everything. Incredible. Restoring the garden to its former glory is going to take months of planning, clearing, rebuilding and replanting. But the Hamiltons intend to complete the lot. All 3 gardens within the walls, the glass houses and even the bothies where the garden hands used to live.
It'd certainly be nice to see all the buildings restored.
It's something the sons of the last gardeners at Apley would love to see. Their dads spent years working here. The garden was their life. How do you think your father would react now if he was to see the place as it is?
Well, he'd just sob his eyes out, really, absolutely. He would. He'd be absolutely shattered if he saw it now. I'm glad he doesn't have to see it.
They'd be absolutely devastated, yeah. Absolutely devastated. Probably not surprised because, you know, they were gardening at the end of the heyday of gardening and you could see the decline was coming. But they'd be really upset to see it as wild as this, yeah, for sure.
With the garden lying abandoned for so long, restoring it is no small job, and a project like this takes time and money. Lady Hamilton is hopeful about making it the pride of the estate once more.
It's a very special place, and I think it's created, the special atmosphere is created by the wall around it and the door through which you go to enter it, and you know you're entering something that's enclosed. It's shut off. To first lettuce or first cabbage, hopefully we could get something planted. It may not be a lettuce or cabbage, but perhaps something by next summer, if we get something in the ground in the spring of 2013. But we'll see. It may be that the weed killing just takes much longer than we think.
When people come around and actually see these things being grown, it makes them appreciate that it's not produced on a production line. Things actually grow and they're picked and taken away, So I think that is, once again, that's going to be one of the beneficial spin-offs of a restoration like this. You're telling the story of food to people, putting it in front of them.
You know, hunting about this garden, stood still in time for all those years, I felt like a kid on an exploration, rummaging about the place. And now I just can't wait to see how it all turns out. And who knows, the restoration here could inspire a new generation of gardeners, and the walled garden could relive its heyday once more.